Hello, this is my second time recording this. First time went a bit weird. I forgot to tamper with the collisions on the house on top of the hill, but this is my Inner Worlds project. I know it's a bit late, and it's taken me a bit of time due to a lot of external circumstances, but you have objects that you can interact with. As you approach them, it'll display text relevant to the character. So this is all coming from Jimmy, and he's talking about his views on things and relevant. Originally, I wanted an interaction system, and I was thinking of using the preset like FPS gun so that you can like shoot it at something, right? And then it would, if it hit it, it would count as interaction. But that was a bit complicated, so I settled for when you press E, you have a bit of a delay, and then objects will be interacted with. I kind of had to mix the keys around, and I have moving objects this time, actors that play a loop. So another thing is this bus stop right here. It's giving more insight into the character, so he cares about what he does. Lots of stuff like that. I wanted to put a sound that traveled with the car, but I couldn't figure out how to. That was a bit tricky for me, because there was no locational sound in the rendering activities. I'm not exactly sure why it's not playing. I think it's because of the over budget in memory, but there is supposed to be bird ambience, and in the previous recording there is in fact bird ambience, so something's up with that one, but I don't think that's too big of a deal, because we still have sounds elsewhere, like the bike being put in the garage, and as I'm coming up to this, entering the home. Now, for some reason, I messed with the collision a bit too much, and now the whole house had weird collisions, so instead I took a step back and I disabled the collision for now, just so you can enter the house and see all the props inside. As you walk up to objects, you can interact with them, and in return, you will get text prompts. Sort of like, I don't really know what. There's a lot of games that do it, but I wasn't really inspired by any games in particular. I kind of wanted, I don't know, I've always had the idea of, they always have like little dialogue, like tutorials and stuff like that, but it's almost like the objects themselves, like the thoughts are just popping up, so it would be like a little thought bubble. This is just an idea I've had in my brain for a long time, so finally getting to make it is kind of nice. So like I said, there's no collisions right now because of debugging, but you can walk up to the door and there's a trigger box there, so it would teleport you inside normally, which is very nice, but like I said, a bit of debugging currently. We have the kitchen right here, so you have a sink, stove, containers there, couch, and you have his coffee machine right here, which should give a pop-up. I don't know if I have to be, yeah, I have to do that because of weird collision boxes, but this is the coffee maker, so it's a very weird object. It looks like it's gonna explode because it's a steampunk type of coffee maker, more one of those like artisanal that you would see around. You have this, where it's like a merging object splitting out of itself, because I just found that to be really cool. And it's almost like an atom where it's like splitting and merging back in, and it's self-contained. But as for what it does or the relevance, that will be discussed later, and I probably will remove the stationary one and give like, I don't know, almost like a gyroscope view to the one spinning around, so that it's like spinning in multiple directions, but also just floating up and down. And then finally we have the bed. So this is supposed to be like, he's pretty smart, but he's very humble about this sort of thing. And if I had the other character, the type of dialogue that I would want to write is more scientific, like remembering the old days, finding happiness in that. And then approaching the town, it would be more of admiration for Jimmy, but disdain towards a lot of the people who are trying to exploit the resources of nature currently for no reason. But yeah, that was my Inner Worlds level. I wanted to make use of a bunch of concepts that we had, and I hopefully, I will be able to refine it even more in the future. So, thank you for watching. Again, I'm sorry if this is a day late. And yeah, if you have any questions, let me know. Alright.